convicted of insurrection and sentenced to 8 years in a violent Iranian prison. Case is completely bogus, but once again, the U.S. State Department and the president seem powerless.
We condemn Iran's continued violation of the universal right of freedom of religion, and we call on the Iranian authorities to release Mr. Abedini. As you know, the State Department is in close contact with the Abedini family and is actively engaged on this case.
Well, that's nice, but I don't think Iran's exactly quaking in its proverbial boots. With us now, Faraz Sanei, member of the group Human Rights Watch and an Iranian expert. They don't care what Carney says, do they?
Well, I think that international pressure actually does wind up working in several instances and cases. We actually have a case of a pastor, a Christian pastor, named Yousef Nadarkhani, who was actually sentenced to apostasy, which is essentially converting from Islam to another religion. In this case, it was Christianity. And he was sentenced to death initially for the crime of apostasy. This is about 2 years ago. Because of international pressure, partly from Human Rights Watch and other organizations, including Christian organizations in the United States and in Europe and elsewhere, his conviction actually was changed. He spent a little bit of time in prison, and he's since been released.
All right, so you think you can bring some pressure to bear.
Yeah.
Now, this Abedini, I mean, he's an American citizen, all right? He's Persian by descent, lives in the USA, goes back to Persia, Iran, and they grab him. For what?
Well, you know, initially they grabbed him essentially in the summer of last year as he was trying to enter into Iran from Turkey. And the reason why they grabbed him is because he's involved in the home church movement in Iran. He decided to change to Christianity. He changed his religion to Christianity.
What's the home church thing?
The home church movement essentially is a Protestant movement in Iran. It is relatively popular and has become more popular in recent years. It's in some ways an underground movement because many Christian converts and Protestants are not allowed to build churches in Iran, and as a result, they hold their ceremonies and their services.
And that's all illegal. You can't. If you're an Iranian, you got to be a Muslim, right?
Not true. There are actually Jews in Iran, there are Christians in Iran, there are Christian converts in Iran. What the Iranian government has a specific problem with is these home church movements because they're very popular. There are a lot of young people.
So they don't want anybody converting anybody.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Their big issue is evangelical Christians and
so
Christians.
If you're not a Muslim, you got to shut up.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put it that way, but what I would say is that...
You're a little soft on Iran.
Well,
you're
no,
I'm soft on them, man. There's no freedom of religion over there. Come on.
No, there isn't.
All right?
Freedom of religion is a huge issue.
Look, let's call it this. Is an American in jail for 8 years for doing nothing, right?
Absolutely agree with you.
And President Obama can't get him out.
He should not be in prison.
Right.
Organizations like ours will continue to push on this issue.
And we're glad.
And we're glad we're doing it.
But the American government, as powerful as it is, can't get him out.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the judiciary in Iran and the Iranian authorities who have to release him.
No. At the end of the day, his butt's in jail. That's what's at the end of the day. And there's Carney and everybody else. We got a statement from the new Secretary of State, Kerry. I'm concerned. Concern doesn't cut it. So that's my frustration. And this little backwater, this fascist state, there's to terrorize, and we can't do anything about it.
One point that I want to make, if I can, is that Christians are not the only groups that are targeted in Iran. The Iranian government essentially has a problem with any group, whether it's secular or religious, that challenges the orthodoxy of the state. Okay. And Christians are a part of that, but there are many other religious minorities in Iran that have similarly been targeted.
If I were an American, I wouldn't be going to Iran, period. Sanei, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Straight ahead.